Soccer's a unifying thing in my life, and I think for most people. So, I try to learn from the kids as much as I can.
Hi, my name is Suhaib Mohammed. I play for one of the best teams, Globe FC.
Hi, my name is Maria Goodbreak, and I'm Executive Director of Global FC. Global FC started in 2014 as a community development project at a very critical time. It was really during a heightened time around refugee resettlement, not just here in Kansas City or in the country, but around the world. Around 2017 is when we became an established nonprofit organization, and just very clearly defined programs, and our impact has continued to grow and build momentum throughout those years. A part of my identity and my story and my journey lives within Global FC. It's obviously now a small part because it's bigger than any one person, but being a refugee myself from Afghanistan, I have felt and have experienced the journey of displacement and having to adapt from culture to culture, and having the language barrier, the economic barriers, the many religious barriers that stop me from maybe pursuing some great opportunities or even pursuing my greatest potential for so long, then having to adapt to a new country. So many of those things that I understood through my experience of being a new American in the Western context kind of feeds and spills into the Global FC story. So many of those kids' stories is a part of my story as well. So I see a big piece of me in Global FC. In 2014, when I came to Kansas City and had this vision for this organization, I came at one of the most critical times in the world, where we're seeing more people forcibly displaced than ever before in the history of mankind happening in our generation. And the Syrian crisis was a major catalyst in that. And we saw a huge hysteria around that. And I think that I came to understand that instead of sitting there and protesting it or debating it, what did that actually look like as action? And I had to go back and think about my own journey, and to think about what would I have needed, that young Maria, newly arrived in a new country and trying to transition and try to learn the language. And ultimately, it came down to this notion of a community of belonging, caring and welcoming Americans who would come alongside to give me the tools to succeed, and also be there as an additional voice, a voice of credibility, not just in the community and not just in the schools, but also for my family. Global FC, I think, is more than just another organization or services provided. It is a community. It's a diverse community where kids from all over the world can have a sense of belonging. Working with refugee kids, it's obvious that they need the support of, economics, academic, helping them adapt to a new country and culture. But I think at the very root level, what they're looking for is a community of belonging. And at the heart level, that is what Global FC provides. We do that through 3 areas of programming: education, mentoring, and of course soccer. Soccer is our vehicle, and it's not just services we provide, but really it's life transformational programming. And so what makes us different is we're not just year-round, but we take a long-term approach to youth and community development.
My name is Suhaib. I came from Ethiopia in Somali, Africa. We moved to United States, US on 2014, September 16. I was 3 years old. What happened when I came here? Me, all of my cousins, we lived in one whole house, big house. We would go outside, and my mom and my dad started working. It was about 24 people in the house. Yes, plus the dad's 28. I've been playing soccer all of my life. One thing I can remember when I was 6 months old, my dad passed me the ball, and then it just kept on going, and yeah.
When you were 6 months old?
Yes.
You remember when you were 6 months old?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Al-Khatib and I play for Global FC. I was born in Syria. Me, my brother, and my sister, we had thalassemia. It was either they had to take blood from us or we had to get blood because we had too little. So, and there was like tons of war going on back then. So we had to move to Egypt. When I moved to Egypt, I was like 2.5. We wanted to move out of Egypt to America, but they wouldn't let us. We didn't, I don't remember why. So then one day we got a call. They told us that we could move to America. Me and my siblings were like so happy. Like we started jumping up and down. And my parents were also happy. And now we can go to better schools and get better education.
There are two very important reasons why we have such passion to serve this specific population of first-generation immigrant and refugee youth. First, purely from a statistics perspective, by 2050, it's projected that 1/3 of almost all kids in the United States are going to be immigrant-born children. And it is vital that we provide these support systems so that when they go out and they engage the workforce, they engage our society, that they can thrive. And ultimately, that doesn't just positively impact the child, the new American, but it's a positive impact for our country. It's a positive impact in our economy, as well as it enriches the social fabric of America. Second reason why we love to work with refugee kids is because there is a huge gap. There is little to no long-term programming that works with this specific population of kids, because many times there's so many cultural and religious barriers to access this community. But because we have been able to tap into this community in a meaningful and authentic way by engaging not only our community organizations and schools, but our long list of community resource partners, including the household. That family engagement becomes really, really key for us. So when we look at all three areas of programming, if it's education, mentoring, and soccer, all three are major gaps that is just not provided to this specific population. And so we get the opportunity to remove those barriers so they can get that academic support and thrive, so that they can be mentored with caring adults in their lives.
Hi, my name is Sydney Larson, and I'm a team mentor for Global FC.
Volunteers are such an important part of what we do. Not just an important part, they are the hands and feet for our mission. We can have a great mission, we can have certain resources that allow us to execute our mission, but if we don't have volunteers who make up the village that we build around every single kid and go out in the community, not just to engage, but to be unbelievable positive role models for these kids, we wouldn't be able to carry our mission forward.
I'll stay here, I'll watch them practice, say some encouraging words, kind of help keep their spirits up, and really just kind of be like a big sister to them, like team mom type role. Kind of just looking out for them, making sure they're doing okay. If maybe their mood seems off, try and talk with them, make sure they're doing okay. A lot of these kids go through a lot of things that we might not be able to relate to or even think of, either at home or at school, different struggles. So we just kind of have to watch out and make sure that they have the ability to be themselves and kind of let loose here on the soccer field, and then help them be successful in their life. Basically is just make sure they're doing okay and able to succeed however that looks for them. So
one of the other facets of what we do that I think is absolutely important, and it's not just the impact and the support that we give the kids in the communities that they come from, I think that it's so important to make sure that a big piece of our mission is to merge communities of disparity. And I think that's why soccer is so awesome to use. Ultimately, soccer becomes a great equalizer. You see, when these kids are out in the suburban communities, in those great facilities, and they're gonna go play a game, and in that very moment when they're playing against an American-born team of kids that are completely outside of their culture and religion and economic backgrounds, two very different communities. When that moment of the soccer happens, their backgrounds of culture, religion, the economics, their social economic backgrounds, all of that kind of fades away. And the only thing that matters in that moment is who gets that ball in the goal. And I just think that's such a beautiful imagery of breaking down walls of mutual misconceptions and stereotypes and even fear. And while that happens, it gives myself and my staff and volunteers to go alongside some of the parents that are sitting there thinking, where are these kids from all over the world coming from? So, that educational piece for us, for the public, is so important. And we get to go and stand there with the parent and say, this is the refugee community. We've got a thriving refugee community right here in Kansas City in very close proximity to where you live. And they walk away being like, wow, I didn't know that. So I think that's really another piece of Global FC that I get really excited about, is bringing these communities together through the game of soccer, but then opening up opportunities for educating them and creating positive dialogue about this very special community that we love to serve.
Hi, my name is Reese Lynn. I'm a coach for Global FC. It's definitely the mission of the organization. It's a way to connect with communities that probably otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to connect with. It's a great bunch of kids. I like that it kind of bucks the pay-to-play model. I'm a big fan of that. What are you guys doing? Yeah, it's hard. I wish I could say that I have a real clear strategy. Now, Alberto, wait, he's got his head up. Now let's play him in. But really, I think it's just about approaching each practice, every interaction with compassion and trying to be understanding. Understand, try to reach the kids at their level, see where they're coming from, which can be tough to do sometimes. I try to embrace the cultures that I encounter as much as I can. I mean, it's one of the reasons that I'm doing this. Soccer for me has always been a vehicle, a way to meet new people who have different experiences from different cultures, different places in the world. Soccer is a unifying thing in my life, and I think for most people. So, I try to learn from the kids as much as I can. So.
My name is Sherry Piedemonte, and I am the Director of Education for Global FC. And under that title, I have two programs that I will be responsible for. One is our tutoring. I will also be developing the program for Next Steps, which is allowing kids to go from, not allowing them, but helping them transition from high school into life. All of our tutors are volunteer. So we have a lot of volunteers that are just fabulous. We love our volunteers, and we're always needing more and more, but we do use them a lot. And as you can see behind me, I think they're really learning. I think one of my goals for the tutoring is they've already been in school all day, 6.5 hours or 7, something like that. And we don't want to give them another hour and a half of school. So I try to make the learning fun. And our focus, because these kids come from all over the world, they don't speak English when they arrive here. Some of them have been in our program for 2 or 3 years, and so their English is getting much, much better. So we focus on writing, reading, a lot on reading, vocabulary, and speaking correctly as well. So those are the things that we're working on, and we try to make it fun.
It's a wonderful scene to see a Global FC kid go to school, and after school, when they're done, they go straight to their after-school tutoring. And after the tutoring, the Global FC takes them to the field where they can play and practice and train. But in the midst of all of it, they're coming into proximity and engaging with caring adults who all serve at some level as a mentoring figure, because mentorship is woven into everything that we do. So by the time that kid gets home at 8 o'clock, 8:30, they have time to do some extra homework, see their family, eat. So that kind of engagement ongoing and the communication that we have ongoing throughout the week with the kids is really, really important.